it is my life's mission to tell as many nurses about it as possible, because I know one too many nurses that are just not happy, and they don't even realize that travel nursing is an avenue for them, because they feel like, oh, travel nursing is unstable, I'm going to lose control. But in reality, it's the fastest way to actually take control of your nursing career and, put the power back in your hands. So
Welcome, you guys, to the Nurse Boss Shift. It's your girl, Dr. Jones.
And Crystal.
And we have a special guest. We're talking to Sarah Gaines, aka the six-figure travel nurse, who leveraged a traumatic bedside experience to become a leading travel nurse expert and nurse entrepreneur.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to share my knowledge and experience on your platform. I very much appreciate it.
With nurses, I feel like we're driven by like passion. We're driven by like being able to help those who need us, right? And I think a lot of nurses, especially when it comes to nurse and entrepreneurship, I feel like we miss the mark a lot of times because we don't let that same passion and the need to be able to help others, we don't let that guide us in our journey. Like we'll see somebody, oh, such and such has a Turo, let me go and, get a car on Turo, or let me go and do an Airbnb. It's like, because you have to be fulfilled so that when those moments that things are not going your way, you can still hang in there because people are depending on you. Would you? Because I'm sure you had challenges in your six-figure travel course where things didn't go the way you wanted to. Would you say that that's what made you kind of just still stick with it and see it through versus just saying, oh, forget it, I'll just go pick up another travel assignment?
Yeah, I would say the biggest, oh my God, it's so crazy how jumping into entrepreneurship is just, as you know, it can definitely be challenging, and it's not always easy. And I will say what has kept me to it is, I feel like one thing about nurses, that I've realized that a lot of nurses have in common is like the guilt when you do leave the bedside. There was part of, I'm a retired nurse now, right? And right. And it's like, it should be something that's celebrated, but I kept it low key. It's been almost 3 years since I've been retired, but I kept it low key because I felt guilty. I felt like, should I be at the bedside helping? And I really felt guilty about it. But to reframe that, what it comes down to is, yes, I am very passionate about helping patients. And there are a lot of days that I miss the bedside, but I'm actually more passionate about helping nurses, because who is out there helping nurses? Literally no one. These hospitals want us at the bedside. And that's another thing that nurses need to understand. You got to figure out how to make some money away from the bedside so that when you are burnt out, you have the option to take a break. And guess what? The hospital is not going to tell you or encourage you how to do that, because that does not benefit them. It benefits them to keep you at the bedside and to keep you thinking, oh, well, let me just pick up some more overtime. And no, figure out a way to make some extra income away from that environment so you can have that work-life balance. But yeah, when it comes to passion, what really keeps me going is the community. If I wanted to quit tomorrow, I couldn't. There is too many nurses.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just really inspiring too. I tell the community all the time, they're like, oh, you're such a great mentor. I'm like, y'all inspire me. When we do our weekly strategy calls, just being on the calls with the community and us exchanging ideas and encouraging each other and seeing their wins and seeing what they're doing, it is really inspirational and amazing. And I just want other nurses to experience that. And another thing about the community, it basically is the community that I wish I had when I started travel nursing.
Yes.
I didn't realize it until, it kind of came forefront, but I just curated the community that I always wanted. I always wanted to be surrounded by other most nurses think I'm crazy. They think my dreams are too big. They think my
Uh-huh.
life is wild.
Mhm.
But when I'm talking to the nurses in the Six Figure Travel Nurse course, they're like, yeah, it's just normalized
Yeah,
because that's what we
Yeah.
get it.
all are doing. And
Yeah.
I love that.
They get
I
it.
love it.
That's amazing.
I love that you said that, because that is the ultimate goal, is us mentoring and coaching nurses is not to pull every single nurse from the bedside, because we still need nurses at the bedside, but we want them to be happy and have something else to look forward to. And if they know they're getting well paid through a contract, then they're going to be a better nurse. If they're able to take 2 or 3 months off, they're going to be a better nurse for those patients. So essentially we still are helping patients by helping
Yep.
the nurses.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too, because I feel like nurses struggle with just having their own knowledge, or thinking that the knowledge they have isn't enough. So the fact that you took something you already had knowledge about and created a business, what would you say to nurses who are really passionate and really educated on a particular topic? Like I saw one nurse, she was doing wound care for feet and noticed elderly had issues getting out to their podiatry appointments. So she made a whole foot care business off of that. So how would you speak to the nurse who knows that they're passionate and educated about a particular topic, but they're still scared to start a business because they don't think that their knowledge is worth anything, or that nobody will come to them because they're just this little nurse? What would you say to that nurse?
Mhm.
That's such a good question. And that goes back to that's what hospitals want you to think.
Mhm.
That's what they want you to
Exactly.
think. So you stay the bedside. But
Right.
at the end of the day, there's so many different avenues that we can go down, and you can absolutely, like, your knowledge, your expertise, and your experience absolutely has value. And I personally think that nurses make the best entrepreneurs because we're so innovative. We literally have to be at the bedside, you know what I mean? And we have to, especially when it comes to being flexible and learning how to adapt. That's what nurses do. We're great people. What is it? People persons? Whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know what
Yeah.
the word of the phrase is,
Yeah,
but
people
we're
pleaser
really
for
good
sure.
with people. We have emotional intelligence. I
Yeah.
think we make the most amazing nurse entrepreneurs. So I would say, if you are scared to jump into or not travel nursing, if you're afraid to jump into entrepreneurship, I would say surround yourself with people who are doing it to help normalize it and to also show you what's possible. Listen to podcasts like this,
Yes.
follow, people on social media, join communities and connect with nurses who are doing those types of things so they can show you what's possible for you.
Yes, that is. And see, that's the thing, because not every, but oftentimes what nurses will do, and we're talking about nurses, but this is anyone, is they will constantly find a way to validate somebody else and not validate themselves. And we are so guilty of that. And like Crystal, I love that you gave the example of the wound care nurse. Like she did something that she found a need, and then she created a business around that, and it's around her expertise. Like, honestly, I wish people would start thinking more outside the box instead of inside the boxes that we see all over social media. I feel like it really does us a disservice, because then we spend time trying to wonder why our business is not doing like, Jane Doe's over here, but Jane Doe has a different level of passion than you, and her expertise is different, and you're trying to do what she's doing instead of doing what you've already been gifted with. So we
Yes.
want to ask you this question before we head out. This has been such an amazing interview, but we like to give our listeners homework. So if you could provide us with 3 things that you think nurses could do right now that would at least initiate the nurse boss shift if they haven't done it already.
Okay, 3 things they can do right now. You just done hit me with this homework to give them, Lord.
And added 3 things.
I, I would say the first thing to do that I think is most important is shift your mindset. I feel like it's very hard to take action or move forward until you work on your mindset. So just shift your mindset about the things we just talked about. You're not just a nurse. You can do so much more. And I think a lot of nurses underestimate themselves and what they're capable of. And don't be afraid to learn a new skill set that may be outside of the bedside. I actually was talking about this yesterday on my Instagram. It's like having that cushion of skills that are away from the bedside gives you the ability to take time off, when you need to. And so, yeah, don't be afraid to learn skills away from the bedside. And then another thing I would say, this is
What
hard.
about
Y'all putting me on the
investing?
spot.
What about investing though? Because Sarah, you invest in yourself too. Now I know you said
Yes.
mindset, but what about that?
Yes, I would say don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I think a lot of people on social media love to talk about like investing in everything else, like, oh, real estate or stocks or, whatever. But I'm like, for me, I invest in myself first because you really cannot lose when you invest in yourself. And that is a big reason why my business has been so successful, why I've been able to just grow and evolve and expand over the years, because I'm not afraid to, number one, invest in a course or program that is going to teach me invest in skills that can help you earn more money.
Yes.
So
Because I was going to ask you, what does
basically, I've
investing in
learned,
yourself look like? So like you said,
yes,
invest in
that's what
courses.
it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many courses and stuff. I mean, I've taken copywriting courses. I've taken an ads course. I know how to run my own ads. And then now I do ad consulting for healthcare companies. There's so many different skills that I've learned over the years that literally earn me extra passive income now and will continue. If I lose everything tomorrow, I can still start making money immediately because you didn't take away my skills that I've learned, and I can always leverage those to earn money. You know what I mean? So yes, and don't be afraid to invest in courses to help you learn a new skill. And also don't be afraid to invest in communities. I think nurses are I'm not going to say scared, but the mindset around like, oh, I don't want to pay for this community and blah, blah, blah. For me, I've had like the biggest transformations and the best connections from the paid communities that I have been in. I just feel like it just takes you to a different level when it's a paid community because number one, it tends to be people who are within the same like mindset and area that you are in, and also people who are just more committed to the goal of that community. And being in the same room with those types of people has just really been priceless to me. And it's surrounding yourself with people who are where you aspire to be will help normalize that in your brain and help you realize that it's possible for yourself as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Sheriff, for joining
Yes,
us.
thank you.